everyone. You are now watching Talk with Shonna right here on the Fired Up Network, Female Empowerment Movement. I am extremely excited to have one of my good friends, someone that I have the joy to say I've worked with many times on the show today. His name is Mike DeFaria of BLACKTAIL Recordings. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Hi, how are you doing, Shonna?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. A little tired, but working through. Doing the grind. You know how it is in the music industry. It's
Definitely.
every
That's
minute's
good to
a
hear.
working hour, a working
Exactly.
working minute.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I'd love everyone to know a bit more about you. So I'd like to kind of get your backstory a bit. Where are you originally from? I don't think I even know this. Where are you originally from, and where are you currently located right now?
Well, like I was born and raised in Toronto, and moved to Mississauga area when I was, I think, 5 years old. And then I've just lived in Mississauga pretty much my whole life. Right now, Blacktail is based out of Clarkson in Mississauga, which is basically just like 10 minutes from downtown. It's conveniently located. It's great little spot. I have other little secret locations I have access to do recording and stuff with friends if need be. But yeah, I'm pretty much I can work anywhere. But I work mostly out of my home studio, which is Blacktail Recording. That's my home base. I do most of my work out of. And then I do work out of another studio called Atlas Sound Studios, which is a more commercial facility. So for larger projects, drums, orchestras, and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Amazing. You have a great
Not to
spot.
veer off your question, but yes, I'm located in Toronto, Ontario. So
Yeah, no,
personally,
that's okay. This is what I
yeah.
like. See, this is the stuff I like, right? In between the
Yeah.
questions. That's where it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I can
Yeah,
ramble a bit, so just make sure that I don't want to bore your listeners. So,
it's okay. It's
um,
okay. Yeah, okay. So when did you first get involved in the music industry, and was there something specific that inspired your involvement in the music industry?
um, you know what? Like, music has always been such a huge part of my soul, my whole life. Like, as far as I can remember, since I was born, like, my earliest memory of music was overplaying like millions of times. I had this little record player, Michael Jackson's Thriller. That was the one album that made me fall in love with music. And then from there, it just over the years, as a kid, I always loved it, but I was never really exposed to it till 1991 when I saw Nirvana Nevermind
Mm.
come out, and I saw it Smells Like Teen Spirit for the first time on TV, and I was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "I want to do that." I'm like, "I don't know what that is, that is, but just the chaos of the video, the performance, the rawness, the authenticity of the music, it just resonated. Like that is I have to say, is if I look at one turning point in my life, was that day, that night. I vividly so remember that moment, even still after all these years, that it's so iconic and I keep bringing it back. And another moment when I really decided I wanted to go hard with musicianship and production was in high school. There was this talent show, and I saw this like young band go up, and they just killed it. And they did a cover of the Cranberries' Zombie, and I fell in. I'm like, oh my god! I just looked at them, and then they were all grade 12s. So I was like, oh my god, those guys are the coolest. Like, I want to do that. I want to play, and then just getting involved with bands, and then like really listening to the my favorite band's records and really dissecting recordings. I started getting into this fanatical thing with music where I started really like dissecting and listening for the little things in the mixes, and I started getting interested in like what's going on, what did they do to create this. And it just grew, and then I started getting involved in all the bands at the time I was playing in all their productions,
Mm.
getting my feet wet. And then in 2005, I was playing in a band professionally, and we abruptly broke up. We all quit our jobs, broke up, because we had a tour, a Canadian tour planned, and we
Mm.
quit our jobs and all that stuff, invested thousands of dollars to get a van and all this stuff. And 3 weeks before the tour, that all just fell apart, for some reasons, but I'm not going to get into. But it was
Yeah.
devastating. And
Mm.
at that point, I'm like, okay, I just messed up my life at 24, 24 years of age. I'm like, I have to do something to correct this. So I'm like, I'm going to school for recording, and went to
Mm.
school for recording, 2 years. Um, yeah, and it was great. And actually, right out of recording school, started recording bands and was working full time while working. I had two full time jobs. I was working full time at dealerships, because I would work at car dealerships, and then I worked
Mhm.
full time as an engineer too. So I was doing, yeah, I was working a lot. But it
Yeah.
grew, and then I got to an opportunity where I was laid off with a package from one of these dealerships, and that gave me the, you know what, I'm gonna go recording full time, and that's what we are here today. What, 13 years later?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's been quite a ride,
Mm.
but it's definitely interesting, and everybody in the industry has their own path in a different way. But it's definitely interesting how it's been for me.
It's amazing to hear that, to hear the
Yeah,
backstory, and to get an idea. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about that. We've been in the studio with you so much. We've been
I
working.
know we've spent so many hours together. You think you
Yeah.
know this, Shona? No, I know we've never. It's always, the thing is like, with working with you, it's always been really fun, and
Mm.
it's almost like you almost like flabbergasted. Like, how do I not know more about this person? Like,
I
but
know.
it's been, as a working relationship, it's so natural, and I'm so focused on the task at hand that it's fun and it's smooth, and it's like the hours go by. It's like, okay, you got to go, because
I
you're
know.
an
Yeah.
adult and you have responsibilities. So it's like, we never got that get those moments to talk. But
Right.
yeah,
Well, we're
it is.
making up for it now, right? So we got
Yeah,
to
yeah,
keep
you're
working out.
making up for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, did I want to know? Did you grow up in a musical family? Was that something that was part of your life, really, or?
Yeah, it's weird. For when it comes to musical ability, like when you people like, oh, my dad played guitar in bands, I had none of that. Like, the only thing is my mom was loved listening to music.
Mm.
So growing up, I grew up listening to a lot of like Patsy Cline, um, like country music, Alan Jackson, Shania Twain. Like in the early years, like I would listen to, because when my mom would listen to that stuff, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, it was not a musical family per se, but they knew, like, it just didn't stop me. I'm pretty tenacious. Like, if I want something, i'll I get it. So
Right.
I wanted to play music, and I'd play with my little guitar, and I'd grab my mom's spoons when I was little. And like, there was no hardcore influence. There was one influence in my family. My older cousins
Mm.
played guitar. But it's funny, because I would go over to their house, and I would see their room up the stairs, because they had a room in the attic, because they were teenagers, they were cool. And I would see his guitar on his stand, his electric guitar, and he's like
Mm.
Kiss posters. But I wouldn't have the courage to go into his room, because I was terrified of Kiss.
Mm.
So,
Oh.
so yeah, so I would see the guitar, but I'm like, oh, I want an electric guitar. I want electric. So it was kind of like, it was weird. Like, if you kind of like were to write a script, it's kind of, you can make a movie out of it, like that, looking down that tunnel to see that light, and the guitar was just perfectly there. I could see it, and it was like, I just remember all these little visions and signs and like of my past. It's weird. Like the older you get, like you forget a lot of stuff, but certain things are so cemented in your mind that it's overwhelming that you remember all these little key things that fuels your passion today.
Definitely. Well, the thing about Michael Jackson, I was pretty obsessed with him too. Like I had a Michael Jackson record player, and I would go in my room.
Oh,
I would literally talk back to the record, like, "Hi,
mhm.
Michael Jackson." I thought he was talking to me
Yeah.
through music, and I thought that was really cool that you brought that up. That's something we have in common. Um, do you? So I'm assuming, but we'll talk more about this. Do you write your own music?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm all about originality.
Mhm.
I am very difficult to get together with musicians and just jam. I
Mhm.
always have to have a purpose, a plan
Right.
going into a jam. Like, what are we doing? Like, I can't just go into a room with other musicians and be like, "All right, so what do you guys want to play?" Like, I can't do that. I'm
Right.
just not structured that way. I'm so methodical. I think from the production side, that
Mhm.
the musician side, I'm so methodical also. Um, I'm very structured, but it has proven to work very well so far. The results have been, the is in the pudding, pretty much in the results. But yeah,
That's
like I do write everything. I do have odd ways of writing. But again, my writing style is fully um, fueled by the production brain, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So it's
Yeah.
weird because I have all these skills with production. I have all the tools at my disposal, and it's like, and that's the cool thing. I know COVID was really rough for people, but I think it sparked creativity in the human race because a lot of people just gave up. Like, oh, I'm going to quit my job that I hate. I've been working all these years, and I'm going to do what I love, and they've been doing well, and their passions, like, it's crazy. I don't know. So
That's amazing. That's
yeah.
definitely a positive thing about COVID. I mean, I think a lot of people, it forced people to kind of slow down and think for a second and go, what am I doing? What do I want to be doing? Kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
And
it's crazy though, Shona, because I
mm,
never thought in, if you told me 5 years ago
mm,
that in 5 years you're gonna be writing music again,
mm,
I would have been like, no,
mhm,
no
mhm.
way, there's no way.
Yeah.
COVID, really, as devastating as it was,
Mm,
there is a silver lining that it, I think people came out, they want more truth. They want more. I think the music industry was going in a way where just like, what's going on? Like, and people are now like, there's a lot of cool music coming out and art coming out now
mm.
since COVID, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I
It's
think that was
lively.
definitely a good part of it for
Yeah.
sure. Well, I know you attended school for music because you told
Mhm.
me that you went. So can you tell me a bit more about that? What was the school that you went to, and what did it involve exactly?
I attended the very, very early days of Metalworks Institute.
Mm, mm,
I did my training there. Some there is a few, and I mean very few, maybe with one hand, a couple of instructors that really influenced me still to this day, that I remember what they would hound me about and bust my chops about, and really try and get a message across on teaching audio, and I still hold some of those values today strongly from those instructors. So it was a great experience. Again, I it was a foundation. I'm a learner that does it when I do things. I learn when I do things. I can't sit in a room and like, so it gave me the good basic fundamentals, but I really started like coming into my own after graduating,
mm.
years after. Um,
And
yeah, it's been a long ride. It's a long way.
what I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing because I have such a great connection with you as a producer, engineer. We've had a great, relationship up until this date.
Yeah.
You are the engineer on my single that came out with Claire, Fresh Start.
Yeah. That
And
was so fun.
also my new single that's going to be coming out soon called Reflection as well. And of course, I have another one in the works, which maybe I'll have to have you back on the show and we can talk about that. So I think to this date, you are one of the best relationships I've had with an engineer and producer. So I really value that and appreciate that. I really do.
I mean, it means a lot, Shonna. It does.
Oh,
It does.
for
You are
sure.
super great. You're talented and fun to work with. So,
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Well, what would you say is your particular style of music that you're doing currently? I know you are doing your own project now. What style of music would you put that in? I know it's kind of hard sometimes to put it in a genre.
would you mean from the Blacktail side, or just like from the production side?
Um, well, okay, you could start with the production side. I mean, you're multifaceted, so you are doing the production side and you
Yeah.
also have your own project. So first maybe Blacktail, and then we could go on to your next project that
Okay.
I know you're doing.
So Blacktail recording, like the thing is when I learned recording audio, I learned to record sound
Mm-hmm.
and record sound well.
Right.
So that is my number one value. So when somebody asks me, he's like, "Hey, can you record this like acoustic folk record?" I'm like, "Is it sound?" Yes. I'm like, "Yes, I could do it."
Right.
I've spent many hours actually, like if you look at some of my playlists for music, it's ridiculous. It goes everything from like gargoyles screaming to like soft piano ballads. Like I listen to everything because I like studying. I like what makes a pop song so great. What elements? What is it in the mix that is drawing me in? That's the way I look at audio like a painted picture. Like, why is this painted this way as opposed to that way? Why does heavy metal sound one way, but folk sounds another way? And that's what I kind of take that time to divide and study, like the elements. It's all technicalities of like how far or close you are with a microphone to a source. That changes what the effect of the mix will sound like. Like there's so many factors that go on, but generally most of the time I'm working on rock, pop, hip hop, R&B. Um, those are my majors. Acoustic stuff once in a while. I do a lot of international stuff. I do a lot of Middle Eastern music too.
I love that.
Funny enough,
Okay.
it's crazy. It's crazy. I never grew up listening to some of these genres, but the clientele just get drawn because I've taken what I love about hearing music and I apply it to my mixing, and I'm getting a lot of Middle Eastern customers coming in and mixing like their songs with me to because they're like, oh, it sounds way better than I had before, and hey,
I love that. There's so many beautiful styles of music. It really is. And like for you to have an appreciation for all of those styles, it's great to hear. And you're great
yeah,
at what you do.
I try to be when someone contacts me, I want to be the best professional I can be. Like I want to make sure like nothing is underlooked at my studio. Every cable is thought out and like, is this the best quality cable for this situation? Like I did not cheap out. I made all my cables are custom made by myself in here. um the signal flow, everything, the electricity, everything is taken account for the sound, everything. So I make sure that when somebody contacts me, I want to be the best professional regardless of any genre they want to do. I want to be able to help them out to get their vision across.
It's true. And I notice that when I'm in the studio with you is that you pay attention to all of those details. They all
Yeah.
matter. They all matter, right?
Yeah, I get sometimes people upset with me and how
Oh,
detailed I am with their voices sometimes, but they're like, I can't even hear them. I'm like, here, listen to this, and I'll zoom it in, and they're like, you're right. I'm like,
yeah.
how did you hear that? It's like when you hear so many voices throughout the years, you hear the human voice. I start to hear it's weird. My mind now can't hear music normally anymore. It's like
Right.
everything's dissect. I hear every little nuance of a voice. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. So
That's
and
amazing, though.
yeah,
It's a great way to look at it, especially if you're going to be doing your own work as well, like as an artist.
yeah,
You know, you start from the production side as well. You hear it all when you're doing
yeah.
it. Um, what do you have a favorite music artist? I know you like a lot of different genres. Do you
Hmm.
have a favorite? I know it's a real hard one.
Um. Oh my God. Uh. I can't really say. You know what?
Besides me, Mike. No.
Shonnabrown for sure. Um. No,
Yeah.
I love. You know what? I like everybody I work with, but as far as I have like favorite art, like I don't know, like I find that when I was younger, I used to be like so adamant about having favorite artists, but as the
Mm,
years have gone by, I just like good songs,
yeah.
regardless of who it is.
True. True.
If the song resonates with me at that moment, it makes me feel better. That's
Mm,
all that matters.
yeah.
It's so strange because when I was younger, it's like I would only listen to one genre and that's it. That's my favorite band and I'm gonna overplay them. And it's like I don't
Right.
do that anymore. It's like it's on my feeling. If I'm
Right.
angry that day, I'm listening to metal.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like and it makes me feel so like
Yeah.
it's so relieving. So it all depends on mood.
Right.
I can't. Sorry, artists. I'm not going to give you any shout outs. I'm no favorite artist. I'm not giving anybody a shout out because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to single anybody out more than
Hmm.
anybody else. But
I
if
know.
you
I know.
make great songs and you're honest with your music, I'm a fan.
It's there. Yeah.
Well,
That's
that's who I'm a fan of.
yeah. What advice would you give to someone interested in getting into the music industry?
Don't. It's a joke. It's a joke. That's a
I
joke. Okay.
know. But I
Okay.
kind of laughed for a second there because I was
I
like,
know.
yeah.
I know. It's okay. First off, you have to be a special kind of snowflake to do the music industry.
Yeah.
I find it takes so okay, I get a lot of people that contact me that decide wake up one day and they contact me is like, "Hey, I want to record a song." I'm like,
Hmm.
"Okay, do you have your song?" "No, I have the lyrics." And I go, "But I have the song in my head." I'm like, "So basically all you have is words on paper."
Right.
Let's be realistic here. And
Mm.
so it's like a lot of people, because of social media and pop culture, people think that they could just wake up and be a musician on the top of the hat. I go, it
Mm.
takes something, but if that person has something, I find the best advice to get into the music industry is to go all in,
Mm.
not half foot in. You don't put one leg in and have one leg out. You can't
Mhm.
play safe.
No.
It is risky. It is very you have to really kind of take a look at your situation and say, can I do this? And is it going to affect anybody? Like, because my outlook as a musician 20 years ago is so different than what it is now.
Mm.
So you kind of got to adjust with where your life is at. And if your life is at a good spot and you have the passion and you're willing to give up everything, like you gotta give up. Like if you're gonna like all your buddies are gonna call you every night to go to the bar where you could be
Mm.
at home working on your craft,
Right.
you should do that. That's
Yes.
sacrifice. That's gonna
Hmm.
set you apart from the next guy. That's the
Yeah.
way I look at it. This is a cutthroat industry.
Hmm.
And like I've told you, Shona, so many times when
Hmm.
you've come into my sessions, and I think I don't know if you'll remember this, but I've told you that on your way to my place, to my studio, you've probably passed 50 that you could have gone to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why did you come to me?
Right.
So it's like, so in that, not to get off the topic, but
Mm.
to get into the industry, you have to go in like a pit bull. You have to
Hmm.
be true to yourself, be honest, work hard, and just do it. Do it for you. Don't do it to please anybody else.
I agree with you
And
wholeheartedly on that.
that's the most base. I can get really like ramble about this question, but
Yeah,
that's generally the core. I find the
I
core
agree.
has to be there
Hmm.
because I'm a strong believer. If there's a will, there's a way.
I agree with you.
And
We're
I've
going to
I've
talk about that question a lot more too down the line,
mhm.
because it's a pretty, it's a deep topic, right?
No, it's a heavy question, and
Mhm.
everybody's gonna answer it. And I find sometimes what you get with some of these industry people is you get that sugar-coated BS, and it's like you
Mm,
don't need that sugar-coated BS. There's too much BS in the industry. We just saw
already.
it through COVID. People don't want BS anymore. They want honesty. They want truth. They
Yep,
want just real art,
I
something they can
agree.
relate to. And so same thing with going into the industry. Like as an artist, as a producer, you got to be real and work hard at what you do.
Absolutely. And it is hard work too.
Yeah,
It is. It's a lot of hard work.
it's not easy. It's
No, I
I'm still
agree.
learning every day, and
Me
I'm
too. It's
25
kind of the
years
fun
in.
though, too, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
um, well, actually, that's leading into my next question. What would you say is one of the best things about the music industry?
Oh my God, one of the
I know
best
it's
things.
tough. Well, you don't have to decide what the best thing is. Maybe just a few good things about it,
All right,
perhaps.
it's not necessarily the music industry, but I'm gonna tell you what excites me
Yeah, I want to hear this.
when I
Yes.
work on a project and I see it come out and I see the artist pushing it and hustling and people commenting on it. When people comment like amazing comments on it, that's the best. That's the best. When people relate when my work is out there and in people's ears and they're enjoying it. I
I know. I
like
get
I'm
you.
not gonna lie to you. Yes, this is a business and yeah,
Mhm.
income is a very important thing. But
Yes.
if you go into this industry about this, you're gonna
Oh,
fail. You're gonna fail.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can't go into this about money. It has to be about
No,
heart. So
no.
for me, it's the same thing with the Blacktail. It's like when I see my work out there and a single or a record is doing well for an artist, I love that because
Mm.
I just want my work to be heard. Like I want my chance to be heard and be considered to be like, oh hey, I really like how that guy mixed. Maybe he should mix our record. That for me is what if I could just for me it was never about money. It was
Mm.
always about, you know what? If I could afford to put a roof over my head, food on my plate, and clothes on my back, that's
Then
all
there
it's
you go.
about. For me, that's all it's about. So it's not about fancy cars or luxury and none of that. It's if you can do what you love to do and you wake up in the morning not dreading going to work,
Yes.
that's the biggest thing. Because I worked many jobs where I dreaded to go to work. I
Yes.
hated it. I hated it. Like it was horrible.
Mm. It's true. And you get excited because when you're about to hear what you've come up with, or
Yeah.
it's there's really nothing like it, really, is there? It's just so
Yeah.
such a great feeling that you get from it.
And I'm a very emotional guy and I wear my heart on my sleeve. So when I send a mix to a client and I don't hear them back and it's like they don't like it,
Mm.
it's the most heartbreaking thing for me.
Mm.
When
Yeah.
I can't nail their vision,
Mhm.
I'm so devastated. But it does happen. People need to understand. Just because you go to this one guy to mix, he'll mix different than the next guy. So it's like the person with Picasso. He never
Mm.
painted the same masterpiece twice the same way.
Right.
He
Right.
he couldn't. So that it's that way. So it's a weird game, but even some of the top mixing engineers and producers go through it where they're up against other big guys and they're kind of like just putting them on a line like we're gonna pick who we like best.
Right.
It's kind
Yes.
of dirty, but like
It is.
it's part of the business though. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
an
I guess
art.
that's the one thing that you sort of have to kind of deal with for all the other great things, you know?
Yeah, so
Uh,
there is like there's it's not all like roses and butterflies, and
No.
there is good, there is bad, but if you have the will to fight and keep making your art and stay true to yourself, none of that matters.
It's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
as long as we're happy in the end, because we're on this earth once.
It's true. And you get to leave a mark of some sort,
Yeah, like
you know?
it's crazy that you say that, because I've already noticed as a musician the impact it's done to the band, our kids. Like
Mm.
our kids are singing along to our song, and it's crazy.
Isn't that amazing,
Yeah,
the type of impact that that has?
yeah,
Um,
it's
well, I think we already sort of touched on what maybe one of the worst things about the industry is, right? I mean, we kind of already sort of discussed
yeah.
that. That was my next question. But um, do you have any upcoming projects? And if so, what are they?
For Blacktail,
Hmm.
I have a couple things in the works that I can't talk about.
Hmm.
Uh, I am working with a young band, a new band right now called Hidden Iris. They're like a rock, like a psychedelic rock grunge kind of band.
Hmm.
I just been producing their 3-song EP that they're doing. That's going into mixing stages now. Um, what else am I working on? Oh my God, I'm working on so much stuff. I'm literally splitting my brain every day, as producer and musician every day. So I'm doing a ton of writing too.
Yeah.
A lot of songwriting for the band, demoing. We're making sure that this is going to be right. But yeah, as far as projects, I have some stuff coming up. Um, I wish I could dazzle you with something cool, like I'm working
Oh,
with Lady
Mike,
Gaga
you
in this
always no,
project.
you dazzle me every time I see you in the studio and I see you working the way you work. You dazzle me consistently. So there you
Thank
go.
you so much,
You
Shonna.
do. You do. Okay, well, I'm excited because you are currently a part of the band Chasing Heroes.
Mhm.
And I am excited about this. I'd like everybody to know about you. And I'd like to know a little bit more about what's happening. So, what is your role in the band, first off?
So I'm a vocalist and guitarist in the band. Our bass player is Andrew. Our lead guitar player is Miss Marie, and our drummer is Enzo. We're a four-piece punk rock band from Southern Ontario, and we're just four people that met playing in the music scene over the last 2 years, and we were in other bands, and things didn't work out with those other bands, and we got together. I started this little project at the end of 2022.
Mhm.
I was putting together kind of demos and stuff and trying to find members, and um, Andrew showed his interest one day. Everything. The thing is, the strange thing with Chasing Heroes is everything's been going so well, so fast. But the
Mm,
one thing that's fantastic about this band from any other band I've played in is that everything's just fallen into place naturally.
mm,
And that's the smoothest flow. Like the way the songwriting's coming together, the way we play together, it is scary how good things are going. And we're super excited about it. But we're like a four-piece punk rock band from Southern Ontario. Um, Basically, we're four just hardworking, blue collar adults that we have families, we have kids, we do our daily grind, um, and then we play in this band. And this band is to kind of reason why I'm doing this music is to show my son that
mm.
doesn't matter how old you are, you can still do this and you can still do it well. And surprisingly, the response has been phenomenal. People are really digging us, and we just released a single too, and so yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It's
So you're single. So it's called Empty Cages, which I love that. I think that's a great name.
yeah.
When did that come out? You said it just came out recently.
Yeah, it came out June 6th, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Amazing. That's
Yeah,
great.
the response has been overwhelming. Um, this one was a really personal one to me because this one was basically written about mental health.
I
Um,
love that, Mike.
it's written, and if people pay attention, the way I write very vaguely. So the way I write is that anybody can interpret in any way and relate in any way. So
Mm,
what the words mean to you will mean something different to somebody else, but they still mean something.
right.
So, but the song itself is on the basis of struggling with mental health, and especially for those people that have a hard time leaving the house,
Mm,
um, have a hard time meeting up, calling a friend to get together, and then that loss of time and that friendship just disintegrates.
mm,
Empty cages is referring to being stuck in a cage that's empty, like you're just there by yourself, like so you're
mm.
in this personal hell. And I wrote that from my perspective. This song is really personal to me. um i I was truly hoping that it can kind of reach out to somebody else,
Yeah,
because last year I went through a really 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 rough time. And I think you remember there's a gap when I told you.
there
uh
was. And you,
yeah.
you, you talked to me a bit about it. We didn't get
And
into depth, but yeah,
so about we didn't get into depth, Shona, but I
yeah,
remember telling you about it,
mhm,
and this song is a reflective of that period.
yeah.
So it was a really rough time, and I it was unbelievable how quick the song came together. It just like I said, everything just fell together nicely, and I felt like I had to do this because I don't
Mm,
want to write songs about like going partying or getting drunk or doing drugs. Like with our material, we want to keep it like real, like
mm,
for the middle class person that has to get up, go drop their kids at work, go to work, come home, pick up their kids, rush, make them dinner. Like this band is a representation for everybody that's out there that wanted to do their dreams, and it shows you can.
yes,
Even
yes.
though you are doing that hustle, picking up your kids, making dinner, you still can make music. And I hope people can relate to us with that, like that whole hard work and authenticity that we have to offer.
I love that, Mike. I really do. And I love that you're bringing attention to mental health too, because there's such a stigma around mental health that I find it needs to end. It needs to stop. You know,
Yeah,
the way I see it is you break your arm, you go to the doctor, you get a cast. And it's the same with mental health. You can go and you can ask for help and you can get help, and you
yeah,
shouldn't feel bad about that. And I think we all go through times in our life where we feel like we need that help.
yeah.
And a lot of the times we don't feel like we can talk about it, right? So,
And another thing I think is super important, and growing up a European male, I is that we have to break that stigma of that macho bullshit where men can't talk about their feelings. Um,
mhm,
yeah, no, I'm a very strong, opinionated person. Another thing with this band is we don't tolerate is we're all about including everybody. If everybody wants to
mm,
come to a show and have a good time, they should feel safe. They shouldn't be sexually harassed. They shouldn't be
mhm,
judged because of what they're wearing. So we're
mm.
not going to tolerate that stuff also at our shows. We're a pretty honest, down to earth band, and as being a producer, there's things about the industry I don't like.
Yeah,
So the musician side is kind of like my dark superhero, where I can kind of go like,
like I'm doing this
I'm doing it this way.
this way, and you're
But
gonna have
kind
to
of
go
like
along
it's
with it.
kind of like Chasing Heroes is gonna break the rules, but
Yeah,
Blacktail follows the rules.
right,
But no, as far as the musician side of me, it has to be done a certain way,
right.
or else it's not done. It's not
I
working.
get you, and I think that's part of being influential, powerful, honest
Yeah,
artist,
yeah,
right? To just be like, this is what I'm doing, and this is how it's going to be, and this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, don't try to change that kind of thing. And so
We
I
have to be
appreciate that.
honest. The
Mhm.
problem is nobody in the world's honest because we're gonna hurt feelings. Honesty comes with good and bad. That
Mhm.
that's the way we look at it.
Yep.
Sometimes we hear things we don't like to hear, but we have to hear them.
It's true because it is for a better good at the end of the day. It is.
Exactly, exactly. Like I tell some clients sometimes, like that take was garbage, and then they
Mhm.
get offended.
Mhm.
I'm telling you it's garbage because I know you can do better.
Right.
I go, this is for your good. I'm doing that. This is tough love.
Right.
So I'm
Exactly.
a
And
very tough love kind of guy.
that's one thing I love about you. I would be scared if you weren't like that. When you tell me sometimes you could do that better, I'm like, thank you, Mike. I needed to hear that. That was
No, 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 no,
refreshing.
no, 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 no,
You know what I
no,
mean? I love
no,
that about you.
no. Yeah,
And that just shows how dedicated you are to
yeah.
getting the best out of people.
And
And I
it's
love
crazy
that.
because some people can't handle it.
I know. I know. It's
Like
true.
it drives me crazy. Like, what are you doing? You're a musician. This is part of the
Mhm.
game. Like,
Right. You have to really be focusing on creating the best piece of art that you can create.
yes,
And not to hold yourself back, you know, not
yeah.
to fall into that. So yeah, I was going to say what message would you give to new followers? And where can they find you on social media? Because I know they're going to want to.
So you can find me for the recording and production stuff. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. Just search at Blacktail Recording. Um, you'll find all my stuff there, my contacts, little videos, clips, all that stuff. And for the musician side, for the people who want to look for the band, it's at Chasing Heroes on Instagram. Um, you can also find it Chasing Heroes on Facebook. Our Instagram is more active right now at the moment, but you'll still find us there. Find us on Spotify, all streaming platforms, Bandcamp, to stream the single "Empty Cages." The response so far has been absolutely overwhelming from the analytics. Yeah, we're totally excited. So yeah, just check us out. Hope you dig it. It's honest. It's just punk rock with honesty and raw emotional vocals.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's I don't know what else to say. I hate talking and like being a salesman about this stuff. I
Oh,
just
it's
like doing
okay.
music, Shona. I'm not good at this stuff. Even though I ramble, I think I've rambled so much because I'm nervous, but I don't know.
No,
This
I
isn't my
love
element.
this. You and I are just we're talking, and I'm glad that we got to have this talk because usually we're in there grinding away on the
Yeah,
music, and we really got to just reflect on everything, you know, which I'm really happy about. And I
yeah.
want to thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to me today. And I'm definitely going to have you on again.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here again on my show, Talk with Shonna. Thanks everybody for watching. And before I go, I just want to say, always let the music live through you. All right. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks, Shona.
Thanks for being on here. Okay. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Okay, bye.
Bye.